How dare Ubisoft claim that this AC Black Flag ship combat sequel is the quote-unquote world's first quadruple A game? Yes, this is actually something Ubisoft CEO claimed to justify the $70 price tag. Stay and listen to my rant if you want. There's some positives I want to mention as well, but the short version is this. No, do not pay $70 for an MMO Black Flag ship combat simulator. Now, that might be a little bit reductive and a little bit unfair. There are some things about Skull and Bones I like I said, but this game should have been free to play, and Ubisoft is going to get a ton of heat for the way they mismanaged the release of this. Wait for a sale big time on this one, folks. Unless you absolutely have to play Skull and Bones and you've been dying for the game to arrive, in which case I doubt you'd be watching my video review anyway. Okay, rant over. Let's discuss the actual game. So, Skull and Bones is a project that's been in development hell for the better part of 11 years. It shows its age in the gameplay at times, but the graphics are actually pretty solid. I'd definitely put it on par with Valhalla. What separates Skull and Bones from any other Assassin's Creed game, in terms of art direction, is the scale. There's a very large open world, open sea, to traverse, and the Indian Ocean becomes a character in and of itself. If you enjoyed the ship combat in Black Flag or AC Odyssey, then you'll feel right at home with Skull and Bones. Unfortunately, the gameplay doesn't separate itself enough from these outings, in my opinion. There are new upgrades, new combat mechanics, and a slew of crafting and collecting to do. However, it just feels like a streamlined version of the previous iterations mentioned. Yes, this is an open world live service affair. That's the biggest difference here by far. But, and I hate to repeat myself, but it's worth mentioning again, this game could have been way better off with a free-to-play model. It suits the gameplay loop perfectly. The endgame content is lacking for sure and quickly gets repetitive as well. Just another thing to mention. I want to briefly touch on the story without spoiling anything. Not that there's much to spoil. It's kind of a bland, cookie-cutter affair that is clearly second fiddle to the live service elements in the game. There are a few genuinely interesting characters, but none that really drove the gameplay forward for me. I just found myself kind of snoozing through the story bits, to be honest. The cool thing about the story is there's always room to grow with a game like this. So that's a plus at least. Look at Destiny. I'm gonna say it again. Look at Destiny. Now, one is a space shooter and the other one is a pirate ship combat game, two very different settings. But the same point remains. If you can remember that far back, Destiny faced a lot of similar criticism in its infancy. Not enough endgame content, bare-bones story, repetitive missions, and an overpriced entry fee. The Destiny franchise has bounced back in a magnificent way and is absolutely thriving now. The point I'm trying to make is this. Don't count out Skull and Bones yet. A project that's had this much time and money invested in it is bound to find itself in the future. Now, there's been a lot of criticism surrounding the game at launch, and I'm right on board with it. Don't call this a quadruple A game. That's just such a silly thing to say. And don't claim the game is worth $70 right now, because I honestly just don't think that it is. If you've waited this long for Skull and Bones to come out, just hold out hope and wait a little longer. Wait for the sale. With the nature of these live service games, we won't know how things shake out with this one for at least a handful of years. But I'm hopeful it will eventually find its footing, even if I can't recommend the game right now.